Good morning, you guys. I can't see it, the glare from the window. Look at me this morning. I am exploding with ideas of things to talk about on this channel, and it's all about empowerment for my coffee with Karen anyways. I literally just woke up. And you know what, everybody? This is what women look like. And don't even try leaving a rude comment, because all you're doing is trying to disempower women, and I'm tired of it. This is what women look like when we wake up, people. That's going to be a whole nother video. So today we're going to talk about how much I cried yesterday listening to, and why, really why I cried so hard, listening to Kamala's concession speech, which I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I haven't lost hope. I'm just saying, okay? I cried so hard. I mean, I blubbered. I couldn't breathe. I was like laying on the ground. My husband was sleeping and he was taking a nap because he works super late and he comes home, takes a nap. It was about time he should get up. So after the concession speech was over, I went in there, I laid next to him and I just blubbered. He just put his hand on my back, which is what I need. I don't need, I just need to get it out, And I've come to realize why. I mean, I literally have not cried that hard since my mom died. And that crying lasted, I blubbered for a year like that after she died. Which had for me a lot to do with like my safety net was gone, when she passed. And I think upon reflection, I kind of knew right away, like right after I was done crying and then I'm ready to process. So my husband and I were sitting there processing. And I cried for all the times that I have felt disempowered as a woman. And I not even realizing it. Girls, we and women, we have been disempowered by so many messages throughout our whole lives, and we don't even know it. We feel it though. We feel it, which is why we don't feel confident most of the time, which is why we always have to continue working on our self-worth, which is why I'm showing up like this today, because this is what we look like. Why we don't need to keep hiding behind the billions and billions and $billion makeup industry. We don't. Men don't. Men don't do that. We don't need to do that. But we don't feel good about ourselves unless we do it. I'm not going to walk around all day like this. I'm not. It's just, my husband wouldn't walk around like, with his hair just whatever, doing whatever. He does actually style it a little bit, But you get my point, And I think I just cried and cried because it was so obvious how awful and how much lying went on the other side, and how awful it was, and how easily it appeared to be taken and just disempowering us more. And and she handled it because obviously she has a lot more information. Obviously. Remember, she is the vice president, the sitting vice president as well. So she has a lot more information. And I think, I don't know if anybody listened to it, but listen to when you're ready, when it's not so emotional. I shouldn't have listened to it yesterday, but I really obviously needed that clearing. But at the end, how she kind of looked at the camera and said, I think she is very clear about where she's sitting. About democracy and how people behave when they lose an election, kind of demonstrating, that this is how we're going to behave now and in the future. I'm speaking in code. And again, I could be totally wrong, but this is where I'm going right now. with the now and the future speaking in code thing. I'm going to tell you a couple of personal stories. So when I was the director of advising at a college for 5 years. Had a really good record of program development, helping the students so much. I had a lovely staff, just a lovely staff. And I had a wonderful male supervisor during that during that entire 5 years. Maybe. I think he was around during that 5 years. Fairly, I've had my very first boss was male. He was probably in his 40s, really empowering for me as a young adult. He definitely had some male white tendencies of, he probably had some, I don't know. He just was he was a really good man to nurture me as a young adult and a young professional. But so this 5 years when I was director of advising, which now this was probably I was like in my 40s. So I've been in advising for 20 years. So now we get a new associate VP who then becomes my boss, and it's a woman. And not once in my 20-year career, no matter where I was working, had I ever felt so disempowered by the way she was approaching things. Like she was, in when you're working in a college, typically, no matter what level you're at, your voice matters. Like your voice really matters. Now, I can't say that for every institution, but that was my experience up to this point. Okay. And if you're a director of something and I had been the director for 5 years, you've got things moving. And I have always been very open to change. I'm open to it. But change in a way, if you treat me with respect and we have a conversation and you help me understand it and we, have a nice little figure things out. Well, anyways, she was one of these people who was, I'm coming in and I'm going to tell you what to do. Now, she had been a faculty member. She didn't have any leadership experience. She'd been teaching science, basically. She was a really great biology instructor. Really great. In fact, we were friends because I was director of advising, so she had advisors or advisees. And I wouldn't say friends, but we were, friendly. I worked with her a lot. But she had no supervision experience, nothing like that. So her way of coming in and supervising was to disempower, basically, to dictate, Well, I don't do well with people dictating, especially since I had been in this position for 5 years. I had a great supervisor working together. It's collaboration. It was all it was, collaboration. I didn't get my way ever. I didn't get my way. It was just more, my boss and I would meet, we'd collaborate, blah, 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 blah. He would ultimately have the decision. I would make whatever. But really in the position I was in, I ultimately made he didn't know advising either. So he trusted that I did. Well, anyways, she basically, after a year, now this is after a year, my mom died. So after a year, she concocted some story that was not true at all. And I would admit if it was, because it wasn't true at all. And it's a boring story, but if you ever want to know, I'll do another video about it, but it's boring. But it was something, she concocted a story to demote me, basically. She wasn't going to fire me. She was demoting me. And so I got demoted based on something I didn't do. I didn't do it. And I told her I didn't do it. But when she told me that she was doing this, I just blubbered. And I didn't have a ground to stand on. I didn't have the words because I felt so disempowered. And I didn't have the words to protect myself. And there was nothing at that college that was protecting me. Human resources? No. They work for the college. They work for the institution. That's just how it was then. So I had no advocate. I had, and I had never experienced that much disempowerment before, besides, my dad leaving and how that whole thing went when I was little. But I had never experienced that much disempowerment before, and by a woman. And I mean, I just got falsely accused and I got demoted. And I knew she knew it was a lie. I knew it was a lie. So much so that at this point, I had a different direct supervisor who was a male. He had been there for like eight months. I said to him in private after that, "Hey, Lucy. Oh, she's really talking. I'm sorry about that. I said to him, "Why did you let that happen?" And he said, "I have a mortgage to pay." That's what he said. So I had no recourse. I mean, I just had no recourse. And so you can tell she's lying, because the next day I come into her office and she says, "Okay, well, what would you like? What would you want at this point?" Like, leaving it up to me. So here, you demote somebody and, obviously no disciplinary action taken. You demote somebody and then you say, "Well, what do you want?" So she literally, I said, "Well, I want to be part-time for the summer, and I want to be, I want to go back to advising." And she's like, "Okay." I mean, that makes no sense, right? Makes no sense. But that's exactly how the story happened. And she stripped me of my power. Now, this is a year after my mom died, and I already felt, and I know the universe, boy, was it beating me up. I mean, it was like, "Karen, you have never felt worthy. You have, I mean, since I think it had a lot to do with my dad leaving us when I was 5, but you've never felt worthy. You've always had self-confidence issues. You're a pleaser," which I was. I feel like I was a really good supervisor, because I got really good feedback from the people that I supervised. But boy, did she strip me of my power, which it leads me back to like the whole, how I was feeling yesterday. And obviously I hadn't let go of some of that. But this is what happens in our society, you guys, to girls and women. The second story is, and hi, Marsha. I'm going to tell a little bit of your story. Nobody knows you. And I think she would be okay with this. I hope. Marsha is an unbelievably kind and detailed person. I mean, unbelievably kind and unbelievably proficient at like CPA and details and ideas and everything like that. And I believe she's always had male supervisors. And let me tell you, there's 3 situations. So she's been a CFO, so certified, is that certified? Financial officer. Okay. 3 times for men. I believe all white men. Treated her like crap towards the end. I think it was fine while she was there. So she didn't it wasn't like she was taking abuse or anything like that. But at the end, something was going down in their businesses, and these were independent businesses. Something was going down in their businesses, and they treated her like crap. And she would come up with a plan as the CFO to say, "This is the things you need to do for the business to survive." And they, with their almighty, disempowering, let's not listen to women, decided that wasn't, that's not what they were going to do. And they had their own ideas. Guess what happened to all 3 businesses? All 3 of them. So it's just the disempowering part. It's not about them losing their businesses. It's just, if she were a man, I don't think that would be happening. And it's not to say, "Oh, woe is us." It's to say, this is what we're feeling right now. This is what's coming up for the feminine energy, I believe, because it is coming up deep for me. And we're tired of it. We're tired of it, and we should be tired of it. And we're not taking it anymore. I'm not taking it anymore. You know? So everybody's going to be on their own path with this, which means I'm 55. So I feel stronger now to say I'm not taking it anymore. I also don't have a job because I'm retired. And I have the privilege now of speaking my mind this way. So where you're at, if you're feeling similar feelings, you need to, you're on a different, so you may not be, I'm not taking it anymore. You may not be here. You may be, I need to start releasing this, right? And calmly. And when I say I'm not taking it anymore, I don't mean like bitchy Karen's coming out. And you know what? I just might. I'm taking back my name. We're going to start calling them TRUMP. We're going to start calling it that. We're going to come up with a different name for bitchy Karen. So wherever you're at, we're all at a different place. It could be, just taking one little step towards whatever that means to you. And, you just slowly work. And I think it started with I didn't think it started. It started with the suffrage, women's suffrage. And then, it's been going on all along. Every minority group has been doing their own sort of empowerment growth throughout humanity, but every group has. Except for the men. I don't know if men have to work on that. Not all men. I don't know. Let's say rich men. Rich men. So wherever you're at, take it slow. It's peeling an onion. We don't want to get to the core of the onion too fast. It's not healthy. Your nervous system can't handle it. But feel the feels. And just, if this helps there she is. If this helps a couple people to just begin peeling that onion of empowerment, especially for women, but men too, or whoever is listening to this. Yeah, it's interesting. I think this is the time. So, I'm almost done. Going back to the concession, and I looked at her and I thought, you are it. You are the one. And I feel so strongly about that. I can picture her in my eye, not being inaugurated or anything like that. Just who she is to rise this country up and get rid of the BS. So much BS. So much BS. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But it was my blubbering, why I cried so much. It looks like my eyes are a little puffy, but all right. Have an amazing day. I'd love to hear what you think. If you haven't subscribed to the channel and you want to have these kind of conversations, I'm basically just waking up. At this point, I'm like, if I'm inspired to say something, I'm not waiting till I do my angel card readings. I am going to come back. I'm going to do a lot of energy clearings with the SGs. My heart right now is telling me to do yes and no questions behind a paywall. I'm sorry about that. I feel a little vulnerable about that right now. I'm not sure that's what I'm going to decide, but that's where I'm at right now. So, and a very small paywall. So it's not going to be huge, but just a way for people who are going to be, it's just for people, I know that they're the believers. I need the believers to join me behind here and not have it up here with people who are just not believers. And that's okay. They don't have to believe. So I'll make it very, very reasonable. So people, because anybody who does believe in what I'm doing with that can just join us and I will have scholarships too. So people can't afford it. So we'll work on that. Well, yeah, that's what we'll do. I'll have some scholarship opportunities, give away free memberships every month. So it's just for people who really want to be there. So there she is. All right. Have a good day. Bye-bye.